What's the difference between being a high achiever and being a perfectionist? Hi, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Syra, the show where I answer your questions about personal growth, mental health, and relationships. Today's question comes from Noreen. Noreen says, what's the difference between being a high achiever and a perfectionist? What's the difference between being a high achiever and a perfectionist? It's such a simple question, and there are some differences. And I want to tell you about three different considerations when you think about the differences between these two. So the first thing I would talk about is what is your focus on, right? As a perfectionist, your focus is on avoiding mistakes. That's where your mind is. I don't want to make mistakes. I want to get this right. With achievement or high achieving, actually, there's a fulfillment that happens when you do well, right? So, you still might have that sense of achievement, I guess, but to ask yourself, like, where's my focus? Is my focus on this achievement is going to actually feel fulfilling? Or is this achievement is going, I can't make any mistakes because I'm going to mess it up, right? So that'll make that can help you figure out which one it is. If it's, oh, I can't make any mistakes and this is going to blow up, and those worrying, anxious thoughts, it's more likely perfectionism. And if it's more like, oh, I can't wait to do this, it's going to be so exciting, and yeah, like I'm pushing and I'm working, but I'm loving it, then you're probably on the high achiever side. And not to say we're going to love everything that we have to do, but on projects that you're passionate about, you'll feel it and you'll know it. With perfectionism, there's also impatience often that comes with perfectionism, that you get impatient with other people because you have standards and you want other people to also have those same standards. Whereas as a high achiever, it's just about you and how you do. You're not really interested in how other people are, what they're doing or how they're doing things. It's about your journey. So that's another way to tell if, which one is it? Which one are you experiencing? The other thing I would encourage you to think about is the difference between excellence and perfectionism. Okay, the difference between excellence and perfectionism. So excellence to me means I'm doing the ultimate best that I can do at the capacity that I have. Like I'm giving it my all, right? I'm just giving it my all. And sometimes my all will be a B plus, and sometimes my all will be a C minus, and sometimes my all will be an A plus plus, right? But I'm doing everything I can and really invested in my own excellence, I'm pushing myself to be as great as I can be. That is different than perfection, because what is perfection? And this has come up actually as I've been teaching. This has come up because there's people who are used to getting really high grades, and then they might get a lower grade and they're really upset about it. And what I have to keep reminding students is that they're in a learning program, right? If they got A's on all their assignments, then I have nothing to teach them because they already know everything, right? So as you're learning new skills, as you're learning, whether those are new social skills, new skills about, your self-management, new skills at a job, new skills in your family, there's going to be a learning period where you're not very good at something. Now, you can put in your full effort, but if you're trying to get perfection, you're going to fail time and time and time and time and time and time again. And that the tone of perfectionism becomes self-criticism, right? Like, why didn't you do that? You should have done better. Whereas the tone of high achievement becomes praise and excitement about the things that you've been able to achieve. There's a difference, and you'll feel that difference. The final thing I would ask you to consider, Noreen, is there a cost? Is there a cost? With high achievement, people who are high achievers, if they're balanced, can tone it down. They can slow down. They can take a holiday. They can spend time not doing the thing and just being and not achieving, right? If they're balanced. When they get out of balance into perfectionism, then it's like everything is about that goal and a lot of other things suffer. And that never changes. So, there's periods of our lives, like if you're building a business or if you've just had a baby, or there's times in your life where it's going to be very much like you're immersed in something and that's all you can pay attention to and you're trying to do your best at it. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you kind of start getting obsessed with something and it's not fun anymore. It's not enjoyable anymore. It's not fulfilling. I mean, because like waking up at 2 a.m. to feed a crying baby is not enjoyable, but it's fulfilling, right? Because you know you're taking care of the needs of a child, for example. So if there's no fulfillment, there's no enjoyment, there's no sense of achievement, well, now you've probably slipped into perfectionism. With perfectionism, you can never win. You can never enjoy your achievements because your focus has been on not making a mistake and your focus has been on getting it to a certain standard rather than any sort of learning that you might have had on the journey or any sort of accolades that you might be collecting along the way. You don't get to enjoy any of that because it's not perfect. So you just forget, you overlook what you've done. And I see this with so many high achievers that like they're so talented, but they don't give themselves credit. They're just on to the next perfectionistic task. And it's like they are missing the moments of those little celebrations along the way, right? So that's what I would say about the difference between high achieving and perfectionism. If you have a question that you think might, you know, that you've been wondering about and you just don't know how to answer it, or you want to know more about a particular subject, send me an email. The email address is at the end of this video. And make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.